What's up, everyone? I'm Ryan from Fireside Yankees, and I have my co-host Nick today. Yankees have not. This has definitely been an interesting stretch of Yankee baseball over the last 35 or so games. And I think we can all say that we did not anticipate that Frankie Montas would have an ERA of 9 with the Yankees in his first 3 starts. Now, granted, it's 14 innings. Nothing crazy, but Nick, I think it's confident. I think we can confidently say, Montas just hasn't looked like Montas. There's always that one inning where he just doesn't look like himself. I mean, yesterday he had that horrible second inning, and then after, you look up, it's like, oh, he gave you 6 innings. Like, when the hell did that happen?
6 innings? Like, damn. Like, I was shocked that he was able to get through 6. But yeah, it's just this isn't the guy we traded for. Not 6 innings, 6 earned runs. That's not the guy we traded for.
Yeah, and on top of all of that, I'm looking at, his pitch usage, all that stuff. He's gone very fastball heavy, and he's been very splitter and slider reverse. And that's kind of the first thing I look at.
Yeah, he's thrown a splitter like a quarter of the time this year. And then yesterday, I think he threw it like 11, 12 times in total, which was basically like a 12, 15% usage. Like, I don't know why he's going away from it so much. It doesn't make sense. It's his best pitch.
Yeah, and it's reflected in the strikeout numbers. It's not like he's getting hit hard. The exit velocity against 85.6 miles per hour, ground ball rate 44%. That's compared to 46% Oakland. Nothing drastic there. Hard hit rate is down in New York. It's 32% compared to 36.8%. And the barrel rate is down. Yeah, he's striking out only 11.8% of batters. Walks are up a little bit at 8.8%. Feels like he's not getting chases. He's not putting guys away. And that's a big sign. That's something that happens when you go fastball heavy. We see the trends in baseball nowadays. Guys are using their fastballs less and less and opting for their elite breaking pitches. We saw also like Clark Schmidt, where last year trying to find it with his fastball. And this year, when he's been great, it's because he's saying, screw my fastball, throw it 20-30% of the time. I've got an unbelievable breaking ball and an unbelievable slider, and I'm going to use both of those pitches to get me over. And it feels like Montas doesn't have a feel of that slider yet, feel that splitter yet. And when I see sub 20% slider usage, sub 20% splitter usage, this tells me this isn't Frankie Montas. This is a guy who's trying to work himself back. He's throwing fastballs, forcing fastballs particularly more than before. And I don't necessarily think his forcing fastball is a bad pitch, nor do I think his sinker is a bad pitch. However, let's be real here. 97, 98 is good. It's great velocity, of course, but we're in an era in Major League Baseball where everyone can hit that. So breaking balls have become more valuable, and your ability to throw it. And Montas has a very good slider, a very good splitter. He does have a cutter he uses occasionally. I wonder if the Yankees try to bring that back a little bit. But for Montas, it feels like this is a case of a guy who's started to peel away from, his off speed, his breaking pitches. He doesn't seem to have a feel of either of those pitches. And we know that he was coming back from a situation where, I believe it was his mother-in-law, the mother of his wife, passed away after coming back from injury. So there's 2 notable shutdowns for throwing there in between, starts. And that obviously is going to take away your feel. And we're trying to get Montas back to getting that feel of the breaking ball. So there is there's an explanation behind it. There is a reason for it. This isn't like a out of the blue type of situation, but I do imagine that the adjustment he's going to have to make is say, I have my splitter, I have my slider, when I have a feel of these pitches, I'm untouchable. I've got to get a feel of these pitches again.
I mean, you just summed it up perfectly. Like, there are people out there right now that are freaking out about Montas and are like, I can't believe we traded for Montas. Like, I wish we got Castillo. Of course, because Castillo's a great pitcher, and he's like obviously you'd want to get Castillo. But when you look back at the stats, I mean, you've talked about this a ton. Frankie Montas and Luis Castillo are very, very similar pitchers. If you look at their metrics and everything, they're very similar. So when we got Montas for a far less package than what the Mariners got Castillo for, I was fine with it. I was hyped about it. But if Montas is going to be doing this where it's like, I'm going to struggle to throw pitches down the middle of the plate and walk the 8 and 9 hitters in a game, which he did, and then that leads to you having to pitch to the 1, 2, 3 more aggressively, you're going to get hit around. And that's what happens. And that's what happened in his first start against St. Louis, where he was walking guys and giving up extra base hits and home runs to Paul DeJong. And it's like, we can't be doing this. And then even against Boston, it wasn't that good of a start. It just looked better than his first one. So we were all hyped about it. Like, I give Montas the benefit of the doubt. Or Montas, excuse me. I give Frankie Montas. I remember Michael Kay doing the whole explanation on his name. I remember, like, thinking to myself, this could be the huge acquisition that, like pushes the Yankees over the top when we got Montas. And him pitching meh in 3 games since becoming a Yankee doesn't change that thought for me. The only negative is that it's just been so ugly, and the whole team around him has been terrible as well. So yesterday's start looked even worse. Like Frankie gave up 6 runs, terrible. But he also somehow went 6 innings. And then Abreu comes in and gives up 2 real quick runs right after that. And it's like, well, sick. Now the game's definitely over. Or 3 runs, excuse me. So like that's what I'm more like kind of pissed off about. Where it's like it sucks that Frankie's struggling, but Frankie's struggling when the whole team is struggling is not helping us at all. Like if he could have gone 6 or 7 yesterday of 1 or 2 run baseball, we could have won that game. And instead, we were down 6-0 within like seconds. Or it wasn't 6-0. I know it was 4-1, but it felt like 6.
It was 5. It was 5-0, I believe, at one point after the second inning. And, it feels like for guys like Montas, of course you want him to get the feel of his pitches, but, if you're calling a splitter and a slider, it's because you imagine he can throw it. The pitch calling has to be a little bit better. The game planning in games, you can't have a pitcher go out there and try to be fastball heavy against a righty team that, struggles, that will kill your fastball, right? This is a good right-handed hitting team. The game plan wasn't sharp. I know Montas hung a couple of his splitters. I'm not saying it's completely on game calling. It's that Montas is executing. He's not executing his pitches. You can't walk Merrifield there. That can't happen. But ultimately, I think my biggest takeaway from, kind of the reactions to Montas so far is that it's insane to claim that it's a bust 3 starts in. I don't think, we're 14 innings into Montas. This is 14 bad innings for Frankie Montas, 14 innings where he's not throwing his splitter, not throwing his slider, clearly isn't where he wants to be as a starter. This is a guy who has a very strong track record, who still boasts elite stuff. For people saying the Yankees should have gotten Castillo, I implore you, what would your reaction have been if the Yankees went out and traded for Castillo? And they traded Volpe in that deal? What would have been that reaction? How can you bite the Yankees? Volpe is a prospect where you are very confident the floor is high, right? Like I hate to, I know not a lot of people are the biggest fans of projections, but this is a guy who's in double A currently. Double A currently. I just want to point that out. Double A.
Steamer.
Right? He has not finished his stint in AAA. If he projects to play at a 3.5 WAR per 600 plate appearance pace right now. That's, for context, the same as DJ LeMahieu and only bested by Bader, Trevino, and Judge. Now, Bader, that's because of defensive value, yada, yada, yada. We know more.
Elite defensive center fielder.
Right, and they project him to be an above average hitter. So this is, again, per 600 plate appearances. So obviously, the Stantons and Rizzos of the world aren't going to rank too high in this category because they're a first baseman and a DH. So you have to project their defensive value to be very low. We know, defensive stats for first baseman are a little bit suspect. So we kind of have to, use WAR with a little bit of an asterisk there for them. But when we're talking about a shortstop, we're talking about, a prospect who next year could be a 4-win player for you. You have a hard time trading that away, right? That's not easy to trade away. They were willing to trade away. Reports came out they were willing to trade away JC Dominguez. So
and that's crazy to me. I mean, I personally think Jocelyn Dominguez, the Martian baby, I think he's our best prospect. I've told you this. We've talked about this a lot, Ryan. I think that his ceiling is the highest ceiling on the team by far. So I think that for me personally, when it comes to prospects that are that high level, it always comes down to ceiling. Over like what their floor is. I do think Volpe has the higher floor than Jocelyn, because if Dominguez ends up like bottoming out and not like swinging and missing at everything, you could just basically have like I'm trying to think of the outfielder that well, it'll come back to me, whatever. But I think that the Yankees willing to part with Jocelyn and Peraza was showing that they wanted Luis Castillo. They went for it, but the Reds just liked the Mariners package more. And if the Yankees were to have to meet that package the Mariners gave, they would have had to give up Volpe, and that's just not worth it at all. So, like, what we gave up for Montas was 100% a great deal, 1,000% a great deal. However, my cousin yesterday, he was watching the game with me. We went out and got a beer and watched the game, and he was telling me, Nick, I don't want to sound way too negative right now, because he's usually a positive Yankees fan. He's like, I don't want this to be Sonny Gray 2.0. Like, I don't know what it is about the Yankees and trading with the A's, but it doesn't ever seem to work out. So like I don't want this to be another situation like that where Montas can't handle the moment, and all those fools that were saying, look at his road ERA this year, despite him having like 36 innings. I don't want them to be right. I want Frankie to prove us wrong. But these first 3 starts are a little bit concerning. The only redeeming part of the starts is that his stuff still looks good. Like he still has disgusting movement, throws 97. When he throws his splitter well, it's still one of the best pitches in baseball. But he's just been reluctant to throw the way he threw in Oakland. It's just been weird to see. And then the only redeeming thing, as I was saying, is that he was able to go 6. Like yesterday, I thought he was done after 3 innings for sure. He was getting batted around. The second inning from hell, again. That was the other. Same with the Cardinals game. Second inning from hell. Like I don't know what it is. He does well for the first bit. He got through the first inning pretty easily yesterday, and then the second inning was just nightmares.
Yeah, and again, I look at the slider. This is not a pitch that has grades out poorly stuff wise. It's a strong pitch. His fastball's the same way, splitter's the same way. I would like to see him incorporate. Those are his. I would argue his splitter and his slider are his first and second best pitches.
Agreed.
And so it's very concerning to see that lack of usage of it. Obviously, there's the factor of, the first start and potentially the last few starts, he hasn't felt like he's comfortable throwing these pitches yet. And that, he hasn't thrown in a while, and these are field pitches. And that's why he's not getting it. I think what really makes this, I think you got at this point earlier, but the Yankees struggling has made this highlight more than it should be. I think less people would care if the Yankees were winning. The Yankees are losing, so kind of everything's in disaster mode. A lot of people are, it's questioning the process of how we got here and not the results only. Ultimately it comes down to the Yankees went out and got a very good pitcher. If you thought Frankie Montas wasn't a good pitcher and you feel like this is you being validated, no, this is you having a bad take. And for 14 innings, you're correct, but you're not really correct on how you got there.
The narratives are only right when they're Ryan's narratives, guys.
No, like the way I see it is, you can get the right answer, but take the wrong route to get there. I think that if your pre-existing notion was that Montas wasn't good, I think you're wrong in that the way you look at pitchers is wrong. If you want to sit back and say, okay, Castillo's better. Okay, Castillo's better. Yeah, that's a reasonable take. The Yankees are better with Luis Castillo than Frankie Montas. Yes. That's the take. That's a good take. Okay. But the Yankees are a worse team because they have Frankie Montas. The Yankees made a bad decision in trading Frankie Montas. That's a bad take.
Yeah,
right?
It's like the people that don't like Boone as their manager, and they're like, Boone's not a good manager. I'm like, guys, what is this? Like, people are saying he got an extension for no reason. I'm like, do you guys not remember that Aaron Boone kind of took this team from the depths of hell following Joe Girardi's departure? Because apparently Joe Girardi and quote unquote lost the clubhouse. I don't think there's any question about Aaron Boone losing the clubhouse. Like, these boys seem to like playing for Aaron Boone, and Boone likes to manage these guys. The same thing kind of goes for Montas, where it's like a couple of bad starts and these people are acting like they saw it coming from a mile away. And it's like, why are we all getting hyped up that you called Frankie Montas struggling in pinstripes? Don't we want him to do well? I never understood that. Again, you said 14 innings. That's such a small sample size. That's so small. It's minute. For like Max Scherzer, that's 2 games. Like, why are we freaking out over this?
And on top of that, I mean, let's be frank here. A lot of people aren't big fans of Garrett Cole and his contract. He has a 77 ERA minus, great numbers as a Yankee. The reason they don't like his contract is because of 1 start in October. So let's not pretend like we were going to use Frankie Montas's regular season stats to judge him and not his postseason stats.
Yeah, all that matters is October. Let's be honest. It's all that matters. Once you get to the postseason, I get the whole season, means a lot to get to the postseason for seeding, for home field, so you get buys. If we keep struggling and falling, we're going to be in a fucking wild card spot. So obviously the regular season matters. But when the moment you get to October, all those stats go out the window. No one gives a shit what you bat. I don't care what you bat or how you did. If you do poorly in October, that will stick with me far more. But if you do well in October, you can literally enshrine yourself in Yankees glory forever. Look at Hideki Matsui. 2009 made him my favorite Yankee player of all time. And he still is my favorite Yankee player of all time, and it's 13 years later because of that postseason.
Look at a Luis Sojo, who is, you could argue he was a worse player than like Andrew Velasquez in the regular season, and he is a postseason hero, and Yankee fans love him. El Duque, Orlando Hernandez, was not an incredible regular season starter. When he
El
performed
Duque
well in
was
the
pretty mid
postseason,
in the regular season.
yeah, I mean, he's a quality major. He was definitely a quality major league starter in the regular season, but in the postseason, that's what made him. What made fans fall in love with Tanaka was, yes, people see an ace for the Yankees in the regular season.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, in the regular season,
Yeah, dude.
I mean,
Are you kidding? In the what? Tanaka
no,
was absolutely an ace.
I'm saying more so. Do you think that Masahiro Tanaka after like 2014, 2015 was a consistent like top 10 starter in the league?
Okay,
because
no,
he got a big
I'll
time
agree with you now.
my point more so is he got a big time contract. But do people see that contract as a disappointment? No, because he was phenomenal when it mattered most. It wasn't because he was some top 10, top 5 pitcher in the league. I don't want to discredit Tanaka. I think he regular season he was a very
Gabe
good
will come after you, Ryan. Be careful.
No, he was a very good pitcher, during the regular season. My point more so is you adore him because of the postseason moments.
Yeah,
For
when
Frankie
he won
Montas,
7 against Houston when they were cheating. Like, that's how good Masahiro was. He didn't give a damn.
When Frankie Montas, when all is said and done with Frankie Montas this season, the Yankees are going to Yankee fans are going to look back and say, what he did in October either made you dislike him or distrust him, or made you think of him as a starter to remember for a very long time.
Exactly, Ryan.
He could go on and have a very strong rest of the month of August, have a good month of September. The stats of the season look great, and he'll go into the postseason pretty red hot. I prefer that this team and that this rotation struggle now, because it was going to happen eventually, and I still don't think that the Yankees are necessarily to the point where I've lost the trust that they're going to win the American League. I thought very confidently that. I think, Houston has reclaimed that, hey, we won the American League last year. We've gone to the ALCS 5 straight years. We won the American League 3 out of the last 5 years. We had the best record in the American League. We stake the claim as the team to beat in the American League. I completely say that's a justifiable reason. They've played well this year. They're very good every year in the postseason. That is a team that, you look at as that's the team to beat in the American League. But the Yankees haven't shaken the confidence in me that this team, when they have a Stanton, when they have, Severino in there, when they have a Bader in there, that team can go out and win big games.
Absolutely. We're so banged up right now. Again, we're all hyped about the new guys coming up. But for some of these new guys coming up, it's because we've had injuries, we've had terrible performances that we have to call them up. Like, Flo made an amazing shoestring catch the other day when Ron made his appearance. And it was a great play. But offensively, you're watching Flo swing the bat and you're like, Jesus, this is awful. But that's what we wanted. We needed something to change. Because on the flip side, Osvaldo Cabrera laced a double in the gap yesterday, and every single one of his outs have been pulled outs. So it's like he's trying to do what the Yankees want him to do and what everyone's saying, Osvaldo, you should do. Like, the process is slowly starting to right itself right now, even if yesterday's game was awful. And the past 35 games basically have been awful. But you put out a great thread on Twitter. I implore everyone to follow our Twitter accounts above, as you can see. You put out a great thread on Twitter talking about the Yankees' Pythag win-loss and their expected win-loss during this streak, and how despite the fact that they've got, like, what is it, a +6 or a +9 run differential during their losing, like, basically the last 15 games, they're 3 and 12 in the last 15 or something like that. It's just unsustainable bad play. And it will be righted over time. That's the only way you can put it. When the guys come back, this lineup will start clicking. We haven't gotten to see everyone in this lineup together, I don't think, at all, because Stanton's just been MIA since the All-Star game. Like, so we're kind of, waiting for it. And when it comes, I think it's going to be great. And I think it's going to be, once again, the Yankees are the team to beat. But right now, man, oh my God, this team is hard to watch.
Yeah, and ultimately it comes back to this point that, look, the Yankees they've played at a 55 win pace over the last 35 games, and they have a positive run differential in that span. And they have a quality lineup and a quality rotation, and a quality bullpen. Like, these are things. Now, again, I will say that when they were 61 and 21, was that going to sustain? No, they were not going to win 73% of games played. That's also unsustainable. But I would say just because this bad streak is unsustainable and that good streak was unsustainable just because the good was unsustainable doesn't mean the bad is sustainable. This team's probably going to find itself playing 600 winning percentage baseball, hopefully at some point from here on out to the end of the season.
Hopefully.
Yeah, but you know what? I think that when you look at, just how the lineup is, how, it's not like they haven't hit. They've hit inconsistently, but they do have like their WRC plus is still, I believe, in the top 10 over the last, 35 days. The pitching hasn't
That's
been
nice.
great, but, the pitching has been, really bad in high leverage. When it can't be bad, it has been bad. And it's not like they actually give up fewer home runs in high leverage per 9 than they do in low and medium leverage. So
Why
they
don't
actually,
we just stretch out Ron the Don? Give Ron 5 innings.
I
Let him
think
work. Let Ron cook, baby. Let's go.
I think heavier usage of Marnasso is definitely going to come up. I think you might see Schmidt get a start. I really do think,
Thank God.
I know a lot of people were like, oh, well, Herman's doing a job. I think Herman is very much an unsustainable, like the success
That
he
is the
had in some
biggest
of those
anomaly of
starts.
the season right now. That's the most unsustainable thing of it all. The Yankees have been awful the past month, but Domingo's been really good. Yeah, okay, good one. That's fucking not going to sustain. Domingo's going to fall off a cliff next month. Just wait.
The thing that the number one thing that concerns me with him is just he doesn't get strikeouts.
Yeah,
And he
it doesn't get whiffs. So many barrels. And when he misses his pitches, they're like Litke missing pitches, which, by the way, quick shout out Lucas Litke once again. Games that don't matter, he is the greatest reliever of all time. When we're already out of the game and he just needs to pitch garbage innings, I have never seen someone do the job better. That motherfucker could toe the boogie down every game if it started off 6-0.
Lucas Litke was in a game, and he was asked to throw 2 innings in said game, in a game that the Yankees were either trailing or winning by 1 or more or 2 or more runs. I think Lucas Litke would win a Cy Young award.
It's
Like, you have
insane.
to,
I don't
can't.
get it.
It's not even like, oh, well, like he's not like, if you look at multi-inning outings, right? I'm gonna pull up his all of his
He
2 inning
only does
outings.
multi-inning.
Yeah, so he has gone 2 innings or more in 6 outings, and he has a 0 ERA in those innings, and his strikeouts are way up in those outings.
Losing. We're always losing those games.
Actually,
maybe we're winning one of those games, actually.
So some of those games were blowout wins, and I believe some of these were blowout losses. And then the Mets one, which is the anomaly here, was like a 1-0 affair, I believe, at that point. The Lucas Litke, when he was asked to throw like the 6th inning only, is weirdly not nearly as good.
No, it's awful. When you give Litke like a set role that's like high leverage-esque, he's terrible. But when you say, Lucas, dude, we're down by 4, we're up by 4, pitch a couple innings, he's like, fuck it. And he literally goes out there and throws like 3 flawless innings. Like, I would not be surprised to see, when we are down 6-1, an immaculate inning back-to-back by Lucas Litke. That's how good this guy is when the game doesn't matter. It's crazy. Like, why can't he do this when we need him to do it, when it's a 1-run game and we need you to pitch because the rest of the bullpen sucks? Instead, no. Designated multi-inning cleanup guy. That is Lucas Litke.
Now, there is value in volume. I always talk about, there's value in giving volume in innings. But I wanted to kind of tie this back to Montas a little bit by saying he started using his curveball a lot more recently, 20.7% usage in his last few outings. To start the year, he only used it 9.2% of the time. So that's, that's over doubling your usage.
Jesus.
So in that, when he was only using it, under 10% of the time, his ERA was a 3.04. And his CR was 3.94. His xFIP was 4.35. He just wasn't getting strikeouts. He had a decent ERA. I'm going to say good ERA. That's a pretty good ERA.
Yeah.
But then he kind of turns it on and becomes a completely different pitcher after. 58 ERA minus, which translates to a 2.25 ERA, 3.04 Sierra. Strikeouts are way up, walks are right at what they were before. Is he giving up some more home runs? Yes, but he's preventing more runs, so that doesn't really matter to me. Again, sometimes it's about just, hey, I have a fastball, I have a cutter, or whatever it may be. I'm going to dial down the usage of this. I'm going to go more breaking ball heavy. Nestor Cortez, he made that adjustment. He was getting shelled in the month of June, and he started using his cutter a little bit less, going a little more slider heavy. He's gotten better results. Cole ditched his cutter completely, has kind of taken pride back in that slider and said, hey, this is my pitch.
Jammer's moved away from his cutter.
He's used, is weird because his cutter usage is kind of
it's like
crazy variety. Yeah, and he just hasn't found stable success. But If you look at for a guy like Cole, right, he stopped using his cutter completely. His slider usage, his fastball usage, slider usage, curveball usage, changeup usage all received a slight tick up, and he just gradually dropped everything else in his pitch usage when it
And I'm
comes to his
fine
cutter.
with that. Like Cole,
Yeah.
you plead for him all the time. Just throw your high fastball, dude. Don't try to be pretty and smart with it. Just throw your high fastball. You throw 99, 100 easily, and his fastball is one of the best in baseball because of how much life it has. Like it reminds me a lot of the way it moves and it kind of rises, like Justin Verlander's fastball, even if Verlander throws it like 95 now, 96 now. But when you have such a dominant pitch, and then of course his curveball is disgusting, his change is disgusting, his slider is disgusting. When you have all of these good pitches, you don't need to throw another one. Not every starting pitcher needs to have 5 pitches. And Garrett Cole, especially for being the elite starter he is, doesn't need to have 5 pitches. Montas doesn't need to be doing all this. He just needs to kind of realize, all right, my breaking stuff, my splitter, even my sinker a little bit, and my slider specifically are my money pitches. Those are my put away pitches. My put away pitches. Use the fastball to work the count, to get ahead in the count, and then throw your disgusting stuff. But what's the problem is that Montas has been walking guys more, struggling to get ahead in the counts. He hasn't been getting whiffs. So it's just been kind of watching him labor out there. But once he gets his mojo back and gets into his groove and realizes maybe I shouldn't be throwing my curveball twice as much as I was, and maybe I shouldn't just be pounding the fastball in on lefty batters, he's going to be better. I don't know. That's kind of my like ending 2 cents on Frankie.
Yeah, and to kind of get my last thoughts here, I think that when Montas is ahead, I would like to see him be a little more aggressive with putting guys with the splitter and the slider. Obviously, the location of those pitches haven't been great. The put away rates on it haven't been great. They were better before. But it's about being a little bit crisper. It's about, not letting, yourself get beat on these 2 strike counts. It's about, getting ahead of batters, not walking bad ones. Obviously, we want them to do that.
Oh, yeah.
But, when it comes down to it, you look at Montas, you get this, I guess his problems kind of align with a lot of problems on the pitching staff where a lot of guys are not using pitches that they would be using previous or are using pitches that they stopped using. And it's kind of been weird. They've gotten very, the success has been consistent. I look at a guy like Montas and I just hope that he turns it around because I know he's a talented pitcher. We know he's very good. We know this isn't a guy who should come to New York and have a 5 ERA. This is a guy who should succeed in New York. This is a guy who I have the utmost faith will succeed in New York. And I think a lot of people just need to kind of take a step back and say, there's a reason he isn't going to these breaking pitches. It might just be because he's trying to get a feel for it. When he does go back to these breaking pitches, when his pitch usage looks more like what it was, in Oakland, then I can start judging him and saying, okay, is this stuff worse? Is something wrong here?
Exactly.
But for now, I'm going to give the guy, you got to give the guy more than 14 innings here. We got to, let him play out. And the Yankees have to turn it around because you know what? Even if Frankie Montas pitched a gem yesterday, there's a very good chance the Yankees don't win that baseball game.
Yeah,
so
the whole team needs to turn it around, dude. Perfectly said, Ryan. Perfectly said. We should also, everyone, make sure to give us your thoughts. I love the new voicemail feature. We already got a voicemail. Everyone loves us. It's great. Okay, more they love you, but everyone loves us. So if you do have any thoughts about Montas or the Yankees in general, make sure to call the number up in the corner there. There we go. Up in the corner, 631-762-3518. Leave us a message. Let us know if we're idiots, if you like what we have to say, or if you just have some outlandish take that you think's going to hit. Because at the end of the day, I didn't think a lot of the things that happened this season would happen. I didn't think Frankie Montas would be a Yankee, but here we are. I don't know, Ryan. I'll let you take us home.
Thank you guys for checking us out. Make sure to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, and Instagram, all in the same handle of Fireside Yankees. Our Twitters are above our heads up there. Again, like Nick said, make sure to check out the voicemail number, 631-762-3518. Let us know any of your thoughts. Honestly, if you just need to scream into your phone about the Yankees, I get it. If you want to just scream into your phone about the Yankees, we got you. Yeah. And of course, we appreciate you guys checking us out. You guys have been great with your support, and we'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out.